Welcome to the first installment of 3 Average Guys Reviews. I'm D.
I'm G.
And I'm Jack.
Today we'll be reviewing
Trigger Happy Target Company's silhouette targeting system
and
the TruGlo Tritium Fiber-Optic sights.
I'll be reviewing a CZ52 and 2 mags I bought off of .com. We hope to find the benefits and the downfalls, if we can find any, of these systems.
This is the TruGlo Tritium Fiber-Optic sights that we will be reviewing on the Glock 30 45 ACP. First impression is they seem to be a pretty sturdy sight. They're encased in an aluminum casing here. Only took my gunsmith approximately 5 minutes to put them on. No issues at all. Fit right on. They'll fit on multiple different firearms. They're slid on in the back with the Glock press and locked in with the Allen screw to hold it tight. They're fairly bright during daylight, equally as bright during nighttime and low light hours.
What are your first impressions on them sights?
I like it. The sight picture's pretty clear, pretty bright. Just want to see how well they were installed and see if it'll hit point of aim.
I like them. They seem to be sturdy. They don't seem to raise up off the weapon too much. It's a pretty attractive package. All right, we're going to try these night sights. How these work. Oh, I flinched like a baby on that one.
First impressions, I like them. I was aiming at the head of the target, put 3 in his head, and put about 7 rounds to frighten him. Pretty good group.
Very tight grouping.
Very tight grouping. Might be a good investment. How much did they cost?
$85 installed.
$85 installed. It's not a terrible expense to have night sights that are very bright during the day, which is an advantage. A lot of night sights tend to, during the day shooting them, you can't see the dots. They tend to get washed out by the sunlight. I'm impressed.
Yeah, absolutely easy to acquire my target and line it up. And as far as the target goes, I put 2 close to the X and I put 3 out. Yeah, I really do like how bright they are. I mean, as soon as you put it up to your face, you're like, wow. This is a CZ52 that I bought in the Northeast Pennsylvania area at a gun show. I've owned it for about a year. I've shot it off and on. It is a surplus pistol, but it was in decent shape. There was no rust or no pitting, and I thought it'd be a good purchase. I like the fact that it fires 7.62 by 25 Tokarev ammunition. It came with 1 magazine. I also bought from .com, I believe, is a new replacement magazine. The one thing I noticed right away was it was a satin finish, very smooth. It slides in and out of the pistol very easily. Again, the stock magazine, you have to pull it out. With the replacement magazine, it's very easy, the magazine release. So, I mean, you can't not seat this correctly because it's part of the release. The release is what holds it. 8 rounds is a little short, but again, you can't get around that. And I don't know what else you could ask for in a pistol that is selling for $250, $300. It is a combat pistol.
And for that caliber, that's the cream of the crop.
Right. Something that you need to know ahead of time when getting into these weapons. The issue of the decocker, not to rely on it, as sometimes the gun will fire and it will make contact with the firing pin. It's still something that you might want to keep in your head at all times, not to decock this thing at yourself. Say you buy one used, the one thing you do have to worry about are the rollers. This has somewhat of a system that has rollers on the actual slide itself, and if it's been fired a lot, the firing pin and those rollers are made of a very brittle steel, and they will shatter or tend to flatten off. And so just be aware when buying one of these that you should look into getting either rollers and a new firing pin. There are lots of companies that make them. I believe has most of them.
First time ever shooting a CZ52. Never fired a Taka Rev either, but I do like the idea of the caliber. Not a bad trigger. Firing 85 grain bullets, approximately 1,600 feet per second. I like that. Not a lot of recoil.
All right, I'm going to be shooting the CZ52 here. I'm a lefty, so I'm going to switch over to righty here. We're going to test this decocker. See what happens. It didn't go off.
And we're going to try it out and see how we like it.
So I'm going to try my hand at it.
Oh, let's see how we go.
Shoots a little bit low, but nothing terrible. Of course, that could be operator error as well.
How are the sights?
Sights are a little small, but not too terrible. About the same as a GI issue 1911. All in all, it's not a bad little pistol.
Not a bad gun here. Good accuracy on it to be pretty reliable. I didn't have an issue with the decocker, but who's to say that someone else wouldn't?
I'm also finding it's fairly decent grouping. The only downsides that I can see to this pistol right now, that it does not have a slide catch. The only way this slide will, you have to like wedge your thumb in there just to even activate the catch, and then there's no way to release it. I don't like the fact that there's no way to release slide. The magazine release, it's not the most combat effective. You just can't slide the mag out, so you have to literally push the lever, put it back in. So nowadays you would find that it's a little difficult to have to do in a stressful situation. There's no holsters for it. You're not going to get a nice Kydex, Serpa, anything along those lines. So you're stuck with any universal holster, any universal paddle. One of the drawbacks as well, there's not really much of an aftermarket support for this.
And again, do you really want to invest a lot of money in a $250 gun? Probably not.
Yeah, you're not gonna rig this out. You know, it's not gonna be tactical. You're not taking this to combat. I probably put a box. Was that like 75 rounds or one of them big packs, surplus ammo? And still got 2 rounds left in my magazine. And there's one in here. And even with the decocker, up and down range, that didn't do anything. But it is in here. And I cannot, for the life of me, get this round out. It hasn't fired because I shot, and when the slide went forward, it didn't fully go forward. So I have a live round in this weapon, and I cannot get the slide to go rear. It's gonna be fun trying to get this round out. All right, so a frying pan later, I was able to knock it forward.
Back into battery.
Back into battery, and just be aware of feeding issues and having a frying pan available.
A frying pan is always a good thing to have at the shooting range.
Yes.
Why don't you explain why we have a frying pan, that we're not out here cooking?
Well, we're cooking rounds, that's for sure. It's an old frying pan, the Teflon's come off, makes for a good target. Also very cheap. How much did you pay for this frying pan?
I don't remember.
Less than 10 bucks.
I probably acquired it for nothing.
Nothing. So paint it, which we did a shooting job about. It will probably take a couple rounds out at the range before it's totally useless.